no one cares. Hello everybody, welcome back to a brand new episode of Business Blaze. This episode of Business Blaze is brought to you by the fine people over at Dollar Shave Club. I'm going to tell you more about those guys later in this video, but if you're like, oh, I'm already sold, Simon, you absolutely said nothing at all, and that was the best sales pitch ever. Go to dollarshaveclub.com/blaze to get your starter set for just $5. More on them in a bit. This is all about jobs that won't exist in the future, so if you're doing one of these jobs, well, you're welcome for this service announcement. I'm also sorry that your career is going away. The one that instantly comes to mind is truck drivers. It's like, that is going to be pretty intense, because like Elon Musk is working really hard so you don't have a job anymore. And so are all the other car companies, and so's Uber and Google, and you know, so that's not going to be a good time. Although, the fact that train drivers are still a thing, and like metro, like London Underground drivers, there's this brilliant song called, I don't know what it's called, but it's like, London Underground, they're all lazy, useless, London Underground, and it's really amusing, and it makes me and this was like released in the 90s, and I think they make a point about why do these people still have jobs, why are they always, and it was written by two guys who always ride on the London Underground, and they're like, why are you striking? You make loads of money and you sit in a box and drive a train that could drive itself. Bye.
Thomas had never seen such bullshit before.
Lazy, useless, London Underground. Hopefully I won't get claimed for that. Of course I won't get claimed. I sang it, it sounds horrible. Let's actually get into it, because Danny has a propensity. What happens here is Danny writes the script, I will read the script, Sam will add some memes. I do a really long introduction. Danny does a really long introduction, and then we actually have some content. So we should probably get on. Yes? Whenever I used to dream about the career path I was destined to take in adult life, I always fancied the idea of helping people reach their destination in some way. I thought that maybe I'd end up as an airline pilot, or a helmsman. All right, Danny. What is a helmsman exactly? Is that someone who like drives a boat? Wouldn't you call that a skipper? Or at the very least, a school bus driver. When I was a kid, there were loads of jobs that I wanted to do. You know, you have like your fantasy jobs when you're a kid, and they're the jobs you don't actually get to do. Like, I wanted to be an astronaut, and all this shit. And I also wanted to be a TV presenter. And oddly enough, here we are. I mean, it's not television, and I'm not really doing a good job of presenting, but somehow this is what I do for a living. Weird. Sadly, in later life, I failed to command the public confidence that would allow me to be left alone in charge of a skateboard. Oh no! But then I had another cunning idea. I decided that what I really wanted to be in life was an elevator operator. I was listening to a podcast the other day, and they had like an ad. You know, you get these podcasts on like podcast networks, and they're always advertising their own shows. And one of these, I can't remember what the show was called or anything, but one of the adverts was like, have you ever wondered what job you would have in the past? Like, this is a question that everyone asks themselves, and I'm like, no. At no point in my life have I even considered asking myself that question. Maybe you should work on your sales pitch, or am I just really out of touch? Is this just something that people think about all the time? It's like, if I was born in the 18th century, what job would I have? Who the ever asked themselves that? I might not be able to take on passengers on their holidays to Honolulu, but at least I could get them to the top floor of the department store to browse swimwear and bridal outfits. Alas, fate dealt me another cruel blow. I realized I'd been born several decades too late, and the post of elevator operator had been made almost totally redundant. Apparently elevators have push buttons and things now. The story behind elevator operators is actually surprisingly interesting. I must have made a video about this at some point, but they used to have elevator operators in the same way you'd have a bus driver, you know? Well, the bus driver, but they'd press the buttons, and I don't know what the good equivalent is, but people felt uncomfortable being in an elevator without someone to control the elevator, because they're like, whoa, we're in an elevator, it's pretty wild. The way they got past this, they fired all the elevator drivers. People were still very uncomfortable, so they just installed the emergency stop button, and that made everyone feel more comfortable, and the problem was solved, and Danny's dream job went away. But here's an interesting thing about the death of the elevator operator. Over the last century or so, it's the only position to have been wiped out purely by advances of automation. The job appeared as one of... Is that really true? There must have been other jobs that have been wiped out by automation. Like they used... Wait, in the last century or so. Before alarm clocks, the person used to go and wake people up, but that was way back in the day. The job appeared as one of the main 270 career paths on a 1950 United States census, but has now completely fallen off the radar. And while other jobs have naturally disappeared over the years from a lack of demand or technology becoming obsolete, the role of elevator operator is the only major occupation to have been eradicated entirely because we figured out the machines could do it better and effectively pass the control over to the passengers. The elevator has come a long way since they were first introduced into department stores and hotels in the 1850s. 1930s. One of the very first public elevators ever to be opened was in the Horwatz department store in New York in 1857, but it was shut down within 3 years because customers didn't trust it and preferred to take the stairs. I mean, yeah, it'd be kind of scary. Like, if an elevator is a new thing to you, you're gonna be like, wait, I'm gonna get inside that metal box that is lifted up a giant shaft which fits it perfectly so it can just slide down to the bottom if a wire breaks. And I know, of course, the safety mechanisms and stuff, but I'll be like, you're taking the stairs. The job of elevator operator was quite technical during the early days, as you had to manually open and close the doors and then control the direction and speed of the car. In Germany, really? You controlled the speed? That's awesome. In Germany, before the Second World War, you had to undergo 3 years of rigorous training before you were allowed to take on the position. I just assumed it was someone who pressed the buttons. And although fully automated elevators arrived on the scene in the 1970s, many of the operators still clung onto their jobs for another 30 years or so before their career prospects took a dramatic plunge. People were still doing this in the year 2000? I can't believe that. Today you might still see the odd elevator operator in fancy hotels in New York, but this is really just a grandiose nod to the past for wealthy customers who like to feel special. In other words, it's largely just pissing about. It is, and I always feel super uncomfortable about it. Like in the elevator, look, I mean, let's just agree that if you're in the elevator alone, that is, you know, your chance to readjust yourself or scratch your bottom. And if there's a man in there and you go in and he's like, and what floor, sir? And you're like, oh God, I don't remember. Let me check my hotel card. It's always uncomfortable. It's like the man who hands you your towel in the bathroom. In a way, it's like, oh, it's fancy and nice. But it's also like an interaction with a human that I don't need. Makes me uncomfortable, is what I'm saying. Let's not do it. And although mankind has long been moaning that robots are going to take all of our jobs, it seems, for now, as though elevator operators are the only ones to have been well and truly shafted in that regard. I wish somebody had told me this before I signed up to that exclusive 3-year training course in Germany. Oh no, Danny, come on. That's just a con. If you're thinking of passing career advice on to the next generation, or you fancy taking up a new role that will see you through until retirement age, here are just a few of the modern occupations that should trigger a few alarm bells as they hurtle rapidly down to the basement floor and the grotty underground car park. Ba-da-bum-bum. The whistling mailman. This would have been a job for me. During my own brief stint working at Raw Mail, I can remember the fleeting sense of satisfaction I felt when it looked as if I was in for a light day. For the first couple of hours of the shift, from about 5 a.m. to 7 a.m., you spent most of the time whizzing around a packed sorting office, heaving with hundreds of other post people. You collect all the bundles of mail being spat out at you from various collection points, and then you go and sort them out into your own frame, which contains a slot for every residence on the walk that you'll take later in the morning.
Just about everybody who works in a post office is an alien.
I just realized I have no idea how the post works. I'm like, oh, it's really nice. It arrives. I mean, I don't really get that much post. I mean, it's all electronic these days, isn't it? I mean, what do you used to get? Like bills, electronic, bank statements, electronic. What else mail would you get? Spam, electronic. I bought a giant whiteboard for my office. And every month, the company that I bought of insists on sending me like a magazine. There are like 17 of them in my mailbox right now. It's like, and they're also wrapped in plastic, so it's like I have to separate. I can't just take it and dump it in the recycling. You got to separate all the plastic out. Oh my God. Stop it. Sometimes as you approach the end of this frantic sorting period, you notice that whole rows of slots were completely empty. This would seem to indicate that you'd be merrily skipping past a lot of houses today and you'd arrive at the final destination of the pub a lot quicker than usual. But then, just as things were looking pretty peachy, you'd pick up a huge box of door-to-door marketing mail which went in every damn slot on the frame. That is depressing. This meant that you'd be trudging up and down the rickety paths of every single derelict house on the walk, and pub time now seemed like a million foot-blistering steps away. It seemed a shame that about 10% of the mail I delivered was bills or official stuff, about 1% was personal letters. Oh yeah, personal letters, I didn't even mention those, because who the hell gets personal letters? And about 89% was junk mail that was only going to be lobbed. Yeah, this is the thing, we gotta just stop this, right? Let's just get rid of mail. Let's just do parcels, that's the only thing, and let's just have the people pick them up. Why do we still have mail? It's absurd, it's 2021, what the f***? What, everything, personal letters, just stop it. Just stop wasting everyone's time and the environment and money. Send a email, make a phone call. Bills and stuff, no one does that anymore. It's all electronic. And marketing junk mail, just stop it. If it's something you need to sign for as well, sometimes you need to sign for something to be like, oh, there's an official piece of mail or whatever from like, I don't know, government or some or someone's like, yeah, I really need to make sure you receive this. Like official documents. Like when I bought a car and it's like they'll ship you the registration and you need to sign for the thing to confirm that you received it. It's like, fine, we'll still do that, but we'll have to pick it up. And obviously that's going to be more of a pain in the arse. But I think the amount of money that the government saves is probably worth it. Or, novel idea, if I don't want to fucking pick it up, I can pay someone to come and go to the post office and bring it to me. Like, I can pay extra to have it personally delivered. Why is this not happening? Why is the post still a thing? What the f***'s going on? I'm sorry if you work for the post, but surely you're going away. This was a little while ago, and it would seem that the situation has only become more dire since then. Of course, we'll always need someone to deliver our Amazon parcels, a delivery company. We don't need people delivering letters. But the rest of the comprehensive services provided by the likes of Royal Mail and the US Postal Service has already become largely irrelevant in a world of social media and digital communication and paperless billing. The very idea of dedicated residential walking routes has become obsolete and is currently costing the US Postal Service billions of dollars in losses every year. The most recently recorded net loss from 2020 was just over $9 billion. What the f*** is going on? And even when these services switch their focus to parcels and perhaps reduce the walking routes for regular mail down to communal cluster mailboxes, good idea, so the customers do most of the walking themselves, they would still find it hard in the future to compete with Amazon, who are now playing about with delivery drones and constructing their own sophisticated delivery infrastructure with no need for an external postman. Yeah, Amazon have their own planes and just fleets of Amazon planes. Why is the government wasting money? I know it's like, it's almost a cliche, like government money wastage, and we'll laugh about it, but it is insane. It is insane how much money governments waste. On the plus side, I'm sounding like small government forever! On the plus side, it's just like, stop wasting money. I don't like the inefficiency. On the plus side, at least you'll not need to tip a delivery drone at Christmas, and you should free up plenty of space in the kitchen bin. Oh, good. No, that wasn't the introduction. Good. I was worried that I'd put the ad spot, like, after the introduction. That would be just... So look, guys, this video is brought to you by the absolute legends over at Dollar Shave Club. Look, I mean, shaving, if you're a man or a woman. I don't know, do Dollar Shave Club do stuff for women? It's probably not my talking points. You'll have to investigate that yourself. Good news, I think like 80% of people who watch this channel are dudes. So most of you are gonna need to shave something, unless you're too young to need to shave. In that case, are you sure business blaze is appropriate for you? Or maybe you've got the disease where you don't have hair. That's gonna be like, what? Maximum 10% of people watching. So what does Dollar Shave Club do? Oh, they cover all of your grooming needs. That's what. Shower, oral care, deodorant, and shaving. Well, obviously, it's Dollar Shave Club. Now, you might be looking at me being like, Simon, how can you advertise a shaving company? You clearly don't shave. Look at your magnificent beard. And I'll tell you what, I do shave my head, and my shaving experience has become rather superior since joining Dollar Shave Club. Also, this is ridiculously satisfying. Yes, that's how it's done. This is their sleek, matte black handle. This is actually new. I had like a metal one before. I think I actually prefer this. It's got like a bit more grip. It's like, I don't know, it's like ergonomic. Also, it looks kind of more futuristic somehow with this kind of top lady bit sticking off. None of this is in the talking points because they want me to focus on the shaving experience rather than the aesthetic design of this beautiful handle. But here we are. I shave my head with these bad boys. It is glorious. Why is it extra glorious? Well, that's because it comes with this stuff. What you do first is you lash on the prep scrub. Well, you don't really lash that on. You kind of like, it's like I use it like an exfoliating thing. Really get it in my face and head and all over my beard as well, because just why not? Then you whip on the shave butter, just pour that on top. Then you shave, then you wash it off. Guess you what, I wash it off. I don't know if that's part of the process. And then you got this post-shave dew, which just disappears. It's like a moisturizer, except somehow better. I always say on my other channels, like this is the first time Dollar Shave Club has sponsored this channel, thank you guys. But they've sponsored me a bunch of my other stuff, and I always say that the post-dew thing is my favorite thing. And I'm not sure if they actually watch it because they sent me an absolute ton of it. Like, no, this is what you get. Don't get any ideas. You're not me. When you sign up, you get this, which is still an extraordinary deal for $5. And you get, it's like 2 weeks of shaves. How much is it? Yeah, it's $5 and you get, oh, I don't know how long it'll last you. You get 2 blades. It'll last a while, they're very good. But they sent me like tons of this post-shave dew, and I think they're just going through a rebranding now because they got this like more modern look and these big bottles of it. And so I think they just realized that I really like it, so they sent me tons of it, which is awesome. Oh, let's get back to the talking points because otherwise I have to redo this. You know how it is. Oh, I said all of that. I said that. They want to own the bathroom experience. They have other great products too. Sunscreen. Did you have to put that on the talking points? It is like early February, guys. You're just doing this to make us feel shit. Acne spot treatment, hey. No, that is good. I think I even have a little spot going on here. I mean, it's not acne, I'm 33 years old. I think it might just be an ingrowing hair. But you want to send me some of that stuff, I'll try it out, guys. I will. And even ball spray for your smelly balls. All right. Right now, you can visit dollarshaveclub.com/blaze Blaze, I don't know why I say it funny, and get the ultimate shave starter set, which is what I just showed you, for $5, and round out the grooming routine by adding the other high quality products, because why not? After that, the restock box ships full-size products at the regular price. Brilliant, so you can try it out for $5, and then if you like it, they'll just keep sending you stuff, you keep paying them, and we all live happily ever after until we die. Brilliant. The human referee. Oh God, are we going to talk about sports? I fucking hate sports. And it's the Super Bowl. There was the Super Bowl recently, and I saw someone tweeted like the world's most famous athletes. There was like the top 10. And the top 2 guys were like that Tom Brady chap, who I have heard of. There was another one called LeBron James, and I was like, I literally don't know if he plays baseball, basketball, or American football. I know he's American. I would guess basketball, but I'm not sure. Michael Jordan wasn't on the list, and I'm like, I guess because does he still play sports? Probably not. And then Roger Federer was number 10. And then everyone else, other than Ronaldo or Ronaldinho, who are apparently 2 different dudes, were on there. I'm like, I haven't heard of most of these people. And I was pleased with myself, because sports. Once every 4 years, the entire population of planet Earth gets excited about the FIFA World Cup. No, they don't. Just a few people in Britain and other countries like, I don't know, Spain, Brazil. Who else likes football? Like soccer football. It's not that many people. Let's not get overly excited. The ultimate global football or soccer tournament, which has been running since 1930. No one cares. But, well, almost the entire population. The United States of America, Venezuela, and the Chimbu skeleton dancers of Papua New Guinea don't usually get all that excited about it. And Simon Whistler. I don't usually get that excited about it either, and Danny Salter. But there have been times over the years when I found myself trapped in a pub full of drunken football fans cheering on England, and it's surprisingly easy to get carried away with the celebratory mood. I'm such a Grinch. I'll just be like, I'm gonna go sit in the garden. I mean, please, I want to sit far away from the television. On one such occasion in 2010, the whole pub was noisily engrossed in a match between arch rivals England and Germany, and I pretended to understand what was going on by sporadically shouting things like, "Offside! Referee! Play to the whistle!" Or "He's behind you." He's behind you. It's not. I know that's not something people say. Also, play to the whistle, I've never heard of either. England's were 2-1 down until midfielder Frank Lampard, never heard of him, scored. It's like, oh my God, I know nothing about sports. Everyone in England's going to be like that one time I thought Mo Farah was a woman. And people are like, how do you not know this? You must be joking. It's like, I'm really not joking, and I really don't care. I thought, I don't even know what sport Mo Farah plays. Why would I know what sport he plays if I didn't know he was a dude? He declared that the ball never crossed the goal line, and the perfectly legitimate goal was disallowed. Why don't you just have Hawkeye? Like in tennis, it's like the players get to challenge. So, a despondent England team were then thrashed 4-1, and quite unfairly knocked out of the World Cup. Well, even if it went in, they'd still be thrashed 4-2, wouldn't they, Danny? And this just struck me as absolute madness. The England team and fans have been preparing for this much-hyped $4 billion tournament. What a waste of money. And yet the audience of 3.2 billion viewers were watching a farce unfold on the screens as the referee made a call, as we could all very see ourselves immediately afterwards on the video replays, that it was completely wrong. It might not have felt so bad if it was the 19th set. Oh, so it like bounced in and then came out? How did he not see that?
Oh, it's so foreign!
This might not have been so bad if it was the 19th century, but video technology had been around for several decades by 2010, so why on earth were the governing bodies of sport so reluctant to use it? American football was one of the earliest pioneering examples of the sport adopting the technology in 1985, although they changed their minds about the whole thing during the 1990s before it finally became a permanent fixture of the NFL in 2007. Rather belatedly, video technology is now used to aid a referee's decision in tennis, cricket, rugby, basketball, and many others, and even FIFA finally started using VAR, video-assisted referees, for the World Cup in 2018. Yeah, I mean, this has got to go away. Why does tennis still have linesmen just look at the computer every time and get it perfect? Why is Hawkeye even not just how... Why do you need to summon it and be like, please check it? It should just be the default. Why are we relying on people? So it seems to me that the next logical step is just get rid of the damn human referee altogether and replace him or her with artificial intelligence. Opponents, it's not artificial intelligence, it's just cameras looking at shit. Opponents to the idea argue that sport will always need a human mind and presence to confirm a final decision. Why? And that human error often adds to the drama. Yeah, but we don't want that. And that if the robots are allowed to take over, Japan will win at just about every. But an ex-rocket scientist and current futurologist by the name of Dr. Pearson claims that the human referee could be given the red card in many sports as early as 2030. He reckons that the public will gradually adapt to robot linesmen and digital referees, as it will become clear that computers have the capacity to make instant and entirely accurate decisions based on real-time analysis of every single movement on the field, and this is something which just can't and shouldn't be substituted by some bloke running and puffing about a pitch while missing half the action and dreaming of his half-time pie. In the interests of being fair and accurate and more efficient, handing over the umpire's shirt to technology just seems like a no-brainer. It absolutely does. Why is this still a thing? Why are we even discussing this today? Let's get rid of it all. Dr. Pearson also claims that by the year 2045, now we're getting pretty speculative, that's a long time in the future, robots will be able to play football better than Lionel Messi, but I'm not sure. I've heard of Lionel Messi, but I'm not sure about that. It might help to know if I knew who Lionel Messi was. And considering how long it took the governing bodies of sports to work out how to use a video recorder, maybe Dr. Pearson's predicted timescale is a little premature, if still quite probably inevitable. Surely you could build a robot that could play football better than a person today. It'd just be like, make it like really strong so it hurts to tackle it. I mean, hang on. Of course you can make a robot that's better than a person. Just imagine there's a robot, right? And it goes up and it captures the ball with its weird robot legs. And then it uses like a fucking laser targeting trigonometry thing to be like, all right, the goal is like all the way down the pitch over there. The wind speed is this. I'm going to kick it unbelievably hard so that if it hits someone, it's going to destroy them and then it's going to go in the goal. The like deflated ball arrives at the other side and goes in the goal. Why haven't we got a football robot that surely this is possible today? Elon Musk, you have been called to action. I'm just worried about who exactly the fans are supposed to get angry with when it can be proved that digital referees are entirely infallible. This could be the death of sport, so maybe it's a good idea not to train for a career in sport either, just to be on the safe side. I actually think that's one of the few things that will remain. Like, people like watching sports, and robots playing sports is less interesting. Like, we still watch chess players. I mean, some people do. Even though there are computers absolutely whooping the arse of chess players. Any job in the tobacco industry. Maybe I'm being paranoid, but I sometimes feel as if the government is really giving me strong hints that I should give up smoking. Is it the dead babies on the packaging, Daddy, that really encourages you to think that? Maybe. They've been gradually changing the tone of their message with every passing decade. You don't have to go back too far to the 1950s, when despite the new emerging evidence that smoking might not be very good for anyone actively trying to avoid getting lung cancer, the marketing teams were still having a ball on TV, radio, and in print. Chesterfield cigarettes were promoted as the ideal gift for thoughtful kids to buy their parents. Happy birthday, Mum, I got you a packet of fags. Ooh, can I say... I realize like the YouTube algorithm might pick up on that and be like, that's hateful, but that's what we call cigarettes in the UK. Bizarrely. 20,679 physicians were happy to claim that Lucky Strikes are less irritating. More doctors smoked Camels than any other cigarette, and Embassy was sold as the milder smoke that lets you inhale to your heart's content. However, the 1960s saw a ban on UK TV advertising, and the 70s saw a ban on radio adverts and the introduction of health warnings on packets. There is one crazy thing about the country where I live. I live in Prague in the Czech Republic. There's like, the cigarettes are hidden in boxes. I'm not sure if it's still the case, but at least a couple of years ago, there was still cigarette advertising at like, you'd see outside a newsagents or a tobacconist, there'd be adverts for cigarettes. There'd be like, you know, try the new ice cool thing in the filter that you click and it, like, there were adverts, at least. I'll look outside today and see if they're still there, but at bus stops, advertising cigarettes, I'm like, what the is this? Not long after the turn of the millennium, all forms of tobacco marketing were banned, including even sports sponsorship, which left some British sports, such as snooker and darts, in a dire situation, as they had been almost entirely funded by the tobacco industry up until that point. This was shortly followed by a ban on smoking in all enclosed public spaces, and the enforcement of identical plain packaging containing graphic photographs and health warnings. I'm not saying that any of this is a bad thing. Good. I'll admit that I got a bit grumpy when the ban on smoking in pubs first came into effect, as it felt strangely wrong for a while, and besides, it was cold and lonely outside in the rain. Part of the reasoning was apparently to protect the bar staff from breathing in secondhand smoke, but I do wonder why an employee who was really bothered about that would have taken a job in a place which had been engulfed in clouds of smoke for centuries. Well, maybe because they really wanted a job, Danny. Maybe that was the one job they could get. So my hands are really dry because it's cold outside and my hands get dry. I know this post-shave dew is for your face, but it's also a fantastic moisturizer that I'm going to use on my hands right now. You're welcome, Dollar Shave Club. You're not even paying for this little extra endorsement. Normally I wouldn't use this because I shave it for my head, but you sent me so much that I'm using it. Oh my god, it also smells fantastic. Oh, it kind of smells like, it's got that, I don't know, it smells like outside. It would be like a vegan applying for a job in an abattoir and then complaining that they didn't like the bit where they had to slaughter all the animals. But it's obviously understandable why governments might want to take steps to eradicate the single greatest cause of preventable illness and an industry which still accounts for 7 million deaths and hundreds of billions of dollars of direct medical expenses every year around the world. And the population seems to be getting on board with the idea that smoking is not particularly clever. Back in the 1960s, about 42% of the population were smokers, and this figure is now down to about 18%. It's clear that the industry is gradually running out of puff and looks to disappear forever in the not too distant future. Although details are still vague, the UK has pledged to become completely smoke-free by the year 2030. If you get rid of cigars, guys, I'm gonna be upset. Like, I don't smoke cigarettes, I don't smoke a pipe. Why would I smoke a pipe? I just don't smoke. But I do occasionally smoke a cigar. And it would be sad if that was taken away, because I don't really think it's going to be, that problematic to occasionally smoke a cigar. You don't inhale it. I'll take the risk on that one. And the rest of the world might not be too far behind now that they can choose increasingly popular alternatives such as vaping or e-cigarettes. I tried vaping a few years back, but I think I chose a crap model as I always ended up sputtering out big mouthfuls of oil. Danny, that sounds horrible. I should probably have a look at getting a proper vaping tank and have another go before smoking gets completely outlawed. I've got 9 years. But then again, we've been here before. Russia first banned tobacco in the 17th century, while at around the same time anyone caught smoking in the Ottoman Empire was executed. Okay, that's an incentive to quit. 15 US states banned the sale of cigarettes in the 1920s, while Hitler attempted to suppress the use of tobacco in public places from 1941. Good old Hitler, the hero we need. Hashtag Simon Whistler out of context. Sometimes, you hear the argument, it's like, well, Hitler, he loved animals, was really into making the population healthy and providing for people. And it's like, yeah, he was. But also, genocide. It's like, comparing Ted Bundy once said thank you to someone who held the door open for him. Good guy. Yeah, but it's slightly outweighed by the other things that Ted Bundy did. But everyone always changed their minds after they gave themselves time to sit down, light up a strand, and have a good think about it. Give it another 100 years or so, and it might come back in vogue. The fashion model. Finally, the fashion industry is another example of a career choice which could never really be described as particularly healthy for the models. The industry is notorious for its unrealistic expectations and demands for models to be ridiculously thin to the point where they become almost invisible. Almost an invisible coat hanger. And while the average American woman's waist circumference has increased over the last 20 years, this is not reflected in the fashion sector, where, for example, Victoria's Secret models have been getting thinner and thinner over the same period. I'm sure there are sensible ways in which this could be addressed, but it seems inevitable. They will eventually reach a point where it's considered more convenient to just ditch the human body altogether and replace the model with an android. That would actually be really clever. Not necessarily an android, but let's just digitally remaster it. And then okay, so if I'm getting an advert if I'm a woman and I'm getting an advert for Victoria's Secret, the advertisers know how much I weigh and how tall I am. Why don't they just adjust the picture that I'm seeing to reflect it back to how I am? And I guess then the problem is, because that's not how I want to be. It's look, if I was seeing an advert for clothes and they had my face on the person wearing the clothes, I'd be like, nah, I preferred it when it was a really good looking dude, because then I'm like, if I buy those clothes, I'll be as good looking as that guy, when obviously I won't be. No, I'm okay with the puppet. Why it just seems okay to me. I don't know why this is such a controversial opinion, but I'm okay with the people in the adverts being better looking than me. I know I'm not going to be that good looking. That guy's got glorious hair. Doesn't mean I'm going to go out and wear a wig or get hair plugs. I'll just be like, that guy's got better hair than me. It's alright. I don't mind. I'm still going to buy the fucking shirt. Why is this so controversial? I guess it's because they're unrealistically thin, but the guys in the adverts are unrealistically good looking. It could be argued that the whole traditional routine of gliding stiffly along the runway with an empty facial expression is quite robotic in the first place. And the perceived advantages in using an android instead of a human are that an android can be any shape you like without the risk of surprise weight gain. They'll end up being far more cost effective, and they won't accidentally perform a comedy pratfall and become a viral sensation for all of the wrong reasons. you won't need permission from their parents to get them signed up in the first place, and they can work for hours on end without collapsing from exhaustion and lack of food. They also won't dare answer back or have an opinion about anything, and they won't sue you or when you start behaving like a bellend. You start behaving like a bellend. As if people haven't always been bellends. I suppose we might have still some time yet, bearing in mind that we haven't yet invented androids that look and behave in a manner that is anything other than creepy and weird, but the technology is rapidly developing, driven largely by a greater need in other sectors. For example, Japan leads the way in android innovation. Shocking. They're not really interested in creating new fashion models just yet. The nation is more focused on creating realistic and natural androids which might be able to fill valuable roles in elderly care centers that currently face pressing problems. They're not enough real humans to look after an expanding elderly population. Wow, I have to say that's not the answer I expected. I just immediately thought it had something to do with sex robots. Once an android has spent a few days in the challenging environment of an old people's home, strutting its stuff down a catwalk, it would be a glide in the park. If you're not yet convinced that fashion androids could replace human beings, I'm pretty convinced. I think it will absolutely happen. Just do it digitally. You don't need, why even have the fashion show in real life? Why get all those people together in some big COVID fest? Just like fake it digitally. Why not? It's a bit too late to express doubts. It's kind of already happening. Luxury department stores and online brands such as Saks Fifth Avenue, Gilt Group, and Neiman Marcus. I've never heard of the Gilt Group. I've heard of Neiman Marcus and Saks Fifth Avenue. What's the Gilt Group? It just sounds like a place where you feel guilty for buying their expensive shit. Have already admitted to using computer-generated renderings of the human body to show off their latest threads in recent catalogs, while the Swedish chain H&M seems positively excited about just how easy it is to bend a virtual photographic model into any shape or style to fit the vibe. I think I'm onto an idea. I really think I am. Like with the ads that are just to you. You're looking at them and it's like your body shape, your size. Maybe we should just wait about 100 years before we get Simon to present a follow-up video on business plays in which we can see how many of these predictions turned out to be right. And don't worry too much if the Simon of the future appears to be making strange whirring noises and jerky movements as he lifts a red Solo cup to his mouth to down another mouthful of yummy engine oil. By that time, it will be the new normal. That, everybody, was an episode of Business Plays brought to you by Dollar Shave Club. Also, if you'd like to purchase some merch, there's smash the dislike button. Also, if you're thinking, Simon, you've got a fine beard, you know what would complement my Dollar Shave Club kit beautifully? Or just go to beardblaze.com and pick yourself up some of my beard oil and other beard care items. Thank you for watching. I'm sorry if you work for the Post, but surely you're going away.